What's up, everybody, and welcome to NarcocopMMA MMA. I'm your host, Mike, and this is going to be the full card breakdown for UFC Vegas 114, Emmett versus Vallejos. We have the gatekeeper slash veteran in Josh Emmett fighting the young and up-and-coming Kevin Vallejos, who is only 24 years old, I believe. Yeah, super young guy. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting matchup because it's striker versus striker. If you look at Josh Emmett, the guy has fought the who's who of in the UFC at the featherweight division, and now, you know, they're giving this guy a main event spot. You know, Vallejos versus Emmett, so it's going to be an interesting matchup, man. I don't think by any means it's very easy, but definitely interesting. You know, when you give a guy to Emmett that's just straight, mainly boxing, it gets interesting because he does have a ton of power. Let me go over to chat. Shout out my chat. I don't want to go for 2 hours this time like last time, but I do want to give a precise breakdown on, you know, what I think is going to happen each fight. And yeah, I was going to do a recording, but had some problems again, and finishing up next week for sure. It's going to be a full card breakdown recording, so that's good. Chat, Elijah Juan, let's effing go, my man. Carlos 11 says let's go. Jewish better in the house. William Tyner, let's get some cheese. Ryan says I like these daytime live shows. Appreciate you, my man. Catch these says what's up, big dog? What's up, my man? Tim says Dana just left the bank with $500,000 for incoming finishes. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, dude. Like, is it me or is it like this year? Like, we just don't have a lot of finishes. Like, I haven't seen. Is there any card been where there's a ton of finishes? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't know, but I didn't go back and look. But it just feels like there hasn't been many finishes. DA07 says 3 ads before getting in here. Narco's rolling, and I'm getting cooked, but we're here. Wait, 3 ads? That's weird. I didn't even know that. They're doing that now? Anyways, Small World Filter says, is Vallejos ready for the big lights? Yeah, that's my question. We'll see. MMA Tard, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining. All right. We got 63 people in here. We got some from X. We got some on YouTube. Share it, like it, subscribe, do all that good stuff. It helps out the channel. It helps me. And then comment also. You know, when you comment, you do stuff like that, I think helps me out quite a bit. So with the algorithm. So that's all I asked for. Nothing else. Nothing much. Yeah, YouTube Premium is a must. Yeah, I have that. I mean, I have to have YouTube, especially when I'm taping all this shit. But we're gonna start out here. It's first fight of the night, and it is in the women's strawweight division. It is the 11-6 Sam Hughes versus the 11-2 Piera Rodriguez. Currently, actually, the price has gone down a little. Piera minus 150 in the comeback on Sam Hughes plus 130. This is a rematch. In case you guys don't know, these ladies fought in 2022. I believe it was Piera Rodriguez's second fight in the UFC. Yeah, second fight in the UFC. I went back, obviously watched that fight to see, you know, how this matchup is going to change here as far as these two women. Sam Hughes, I do think Sam Hughes has improved a little bit. You know, she's a striker at heart. She does mix in some grappling versus girls that can't grapple like Shauna Bannon. But for the most part, you know, she's a striker. You know, she's going to want to put the pressure on you. She's going to throw the volume. She has good cardio. She has a very good get-up game. But she can get taken down. You know, I don't think her takedown defense is very good. I think she can easily get taken down, actually. But her get-up game is very good. Like, when you get her down, she's popping right back up. In their first matchup, Piera was able to get her down 5 times. Not much control, to be honest. You know, Sam was able to pop up for the most part. Piera did win 29-28 in that fight. Honestly, it could have been 30-27 in my opinion for Piera Rodriguez in that first fight. And For me, I think both girls have leveled up, right? I do think Sam Hughes has leveled up a little bit. I think Pierre Rodriguez has definitely leveled up a lot. You got to remember, Pierre Rodriguez in that fight, she'd only been training in the US probably for 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, right? She was training back home in Venezuela or wherever in South America. Not a good training camp. She was pretty damn green. She was kind of learning on the job, I would say, for her, right? And now she has a lot of experience. She's been fighting in the UFC for quite a bit. She has this is going to be her 7th UFC fight. She's on a 2-fight winning streak. And if you look at Pierre Rodriguez of late, she's been grappling a lot. She had 7 takedowns against Caitlin Sosa, 8 takedowns against Josephine Knudsen. And honestly, this last fight against Sosa, I didn't have it a split decision, man. I had Pierre Rodriguez winning 29-28 at minimum in that fight. So for me, it's like, what changes in this fight? How does Sam Hughes win this fight? I think her path is a close split decision, but Pierre Rodriguez is leveled up. I think Pierre Rodriguez is the better striker and the better grappler in this fight, technically speaking, right? And then in the clinch, I think she has a big edge with her knees. Like, she threw a lot of good knees on Sam Hughes their first fight, and I think she's leveled that part of her game up too. She's training in Vegas. She has good training partners. I just think this fight, this line is short, in my opinion. I think this is a Pierre Rodriguez spot. I think she's the better fighter overall. I think she's the more physical fighter. She has a grappling edge. Sam Hughes' path is a split decision. Like, that's how she wins fights, So I think, this fight could play close, but I think it also could play where Pierre Rodriguez just wins a 30-27 decision, So for me, I like Pierre Rodriguez here. Honestly, I think the line's short. I would range her somewhere in the 67% range, honestly, somewhere in that range, minus 185 area. So I do think there's a little bit of value on her money line right now. How she wins, probably decision, just because Sam Hughes is super tough, and this fight probably goes at a very, very high clip. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Pierre Rodriguez here. I think she should take care of business. Let's see. Joseph says, "What's up, Narco? Crazy day. Spoke to Benny. Are you following?" Yeah, I saw that. But I don't know what really happened. Somebody said got in a brawl with some Israelis, but both threw punches, talk shit to each other. But the media claiming it's on. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. It just didn't make sense that those guys just went after, and it only showed they went after one guy on the video. So I don't know what's going on with that. Who knows? But everything will come to light. And if they did do what they're saying they did, it's terrible. But if they didn't, then it's the media fucking, making their own agenda, So, all right, enough of that. Let's move on. Fight number 2. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 16-3 Su Young-Yu versus the 9-1 Elijah Smith. Currently, Elijah Smith minus 200, and the comeback on you at plus 170. I really like Elijah Smith. I want to say that off the jump. I think this guy is very talented. He can wrestle his ass off. He's a very good counter grappler. He's got very, very good striking, extremely athletic, extremely fast. He's still only 23, so he's improving a lot. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage, a 3-inch height advantage here. So I do think he should be using that. Obviously, they're in the apex, so not as much distance to move around and stuff, but he should be touching this guy from the outside, using that jab, using his speed, and landing Su Young-Yu. Last fight, he had that highlight reel when he was in the triangle. He just slammed Kazama and finished him there. The fight before that, Morales, I don't think it was the best performance for Elijah Smith because he put himself in some very, very deep submissions. I think he defended him well. He flattened out when he was in that Darce. He went to his belly and flattened out, where that's kind of defense you need to do when you're getting Darce there. But he kept putting himself in submissions, which is not the best look. He did slow down a little as well in round 3. And for me, that's 2 fights in a row. He's done that. Aaron Tao fight in Dana White's Contender Series, he slowed down a lot in round 3 in that fight as well. So, something to keep in mind is the cardio aspect. Maybe he's going a little too hard early and dumping and getting tired here late in these fights. But the guy is really good. I mean, it's from a skill aspect. I mean, I really like what I see from Elijah Smith. I believe he's half Korean. You could see that tattoo in his left shoulder right there. I think he's part Korean, because I know they were talking about they had an interview with him and something, and Soo Young Yu called him a fake Korean or something, because Yu is Korean. So it's funny to hear that, but he said that he is part Korean. Soo Young Yu is a grappler, right? Like, this guy is a BJJ black belt. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. When you look at his tape, you see a lot of decisions of late. And part of that is because a lot of these guys are grapplers themselves. Like Nosei is a grappler, Zuapasi can grapple, Gillespie can grapple, Zhao can grapple. We saw Zhao this past week, and he's a good anti-grappler. AJ Cunningham can't really grapple, but he got that fight down a lot and pretty much dominated AJ Cunningham. The thing with Soo Young Yu is his striking is kind of low volume. He likes to clinch a lot. He's not super athletic, but he is a good grappler. That's where I'm a little concerned for Elijah Smith, because Elijah does engage with the wrestling, the grappling, and the jiu-jitsu. I would favor Yu here. He's a black belt. I don't know what Smith is. I think he's a purple belt, but I do favor Yu as far as jiu-jitsu, straight up jiu-jitsu. But overall grappling, I still think it's Smith. I still think he's the better wrestler. He's the much better striker of the two. One thing I will say about Smith, it's important, is when he gets pressed against the cage and he's going to circle out of the cage, he drops his hands a lot and gets hit. He did that against Morales. He did that against Tao. I don't like seeing that. I guess it's a thing that he will learn over time, but he does that a lot. I mean, he is dropping his hands along the fence a lot, and you don't want to see that, because you're going to get clipped. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get dropped. I'm not saying Yu is like some big puncher, but it doesn't matter. Like, you don't want to circle off the cage and have your hands down, where guys can get like a free left hook or whichever way you're spinning, he can land a big shot. So for me, it's like, this is probably Elijah Smith here. I think Elijah Smith potentially could KO you. I will go with decision. I think Yu is tough. I don't think he's easy to get out of there. He has been finished one time, but yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I really believe that Elijah Smith is a level or two above Sung Young Yu. So I'm going to go with Elijah Smith here. I think he wins by decision, most likely. I wouldn't be surprised if he KOs you, but I think it's decision here. Let's move on. Fight number 3. It is in the women's bantamweight division. It is the 7-1 Montserrat Rendon versus the 6-0 Bia Mesquita. Mesquita minus 620 now, and the comeback on Rendon at plus 470. And you could see right off the bat in the stats and the everything, both these girls are a little bit older. Mesquita grappled her entire life, world champion, really, really good jiu-jitsu. Built like a tank almost. Like when you look at this girl's legs, I mean, big, thick, strong legs, strong upper body, very wide upper body. And you could see, like, this girl, her striking is not the best. It's okay at best, but, she wants to get fights to the ground. And then once she gets it there, like, her ground and pound is just nasty, Mesquita, man. Coming from BJJ background, I love her ground and pound. Look at what she did to Alisceva last fight with the ground and pound. I mean, fight could have been probably stopped in round one. Those elbows were nasty on top. And she's doing 12-6 elbows. She's doing, the regular elbows. I like what I see with her ground and pound a lot, which in that fight obviously opened up the rear naked choke with Alisceva giving her her back, and then Mesquita, obviously world-class jiu-jitsu, choking her out. Then you look at these other fights, Sierra Dinwiddie, big girl, much bigger than Rendon. I think Dinwiddie's like 5'11", 6 foot, good striker from Canada. And Mesquita just, man, she ran through her, took her down, and absolutely put a beating on her on the mat. She has good ground and pound, which I really like to see from a jiu-jitsu background, because a lot of these people that come into the UFC that only do jiu-jitsu, they come in and you see no ground and pound from them, which I think is a big mistake, because you use that ground and pound, either you're going to hurt your opponent or you're going to use that ground and pound so that you can open up your submissions. They're going to eventually give up their back. They don't want to get hit anymore. And then you can get that submission. So I like that aspect of Mesquita's game. The aspect I don't like from her game is the fact that, her striking is not great. She does not a great striker, not the best footwork. So there's a lot to be desired there as far as her striking, but I think she's improving. And at the end of the day, it's women's bantamweight division. There's not many like great strikers anyways. And her opponent is definitely not a good striker. If you were to tell me who's the better striker of these two, I'd probably go with Mesquita. Rendon is flat-footed, walking forward. Her footwork is awful. I mean, god awful footwork from this girl. But she's also a grappler. She's won the Mexico Open or whatever, some kind of jiu-jitsu tournament or championship in Mexico many times. So she's a grappler herself. I believe she's purple or brown belt, but she seems like she mostly does no-gi, so the belt doesn't really translate there. But you look at her last fight, Alice Pereira, the girl was 18 or 19, whatever, and she was just, it looked like she was shell-shocked, that Alice Pereira. She running around the cage, throwing these in and out shots. She looked extremely bad. Rendon tried to get takedowns but failed multiple times. I mean, the way she tries to get takedowns is so bad. I mean, no part of Rendon's game is good. That's the thing. I don't even think on top with her jiu-jitsu she's good. So there's nothing that I've liked from her game, honestly. She's tough, I guess. She has more UFC experience, having 3 fights in the UFC now. This is her 4th. Mesquita obviously only has 1. But, man, like, I just think the physicality, and Rendon is strong. She seems a bit strong. But when I watched Daria fight, it didn't show me that she's very strong in that fight. And Mesquita seems very strong to me. And if she gets on top of Rendon, I think she's going to destroy her, man. Like, I really do. Even though Rendon is tough and she has a jiu-jitsu background, I think there's levels to this. And Mesquita's levels are way, way higher than Rendon. So, to me, when you look at Rendon, look at this. This is a key stat. Rendon, last win by split. The win before that against Vidal, by split. The win before that against Cloudy, by split. The win before that against Zamora, it says unanimous, but you watch that fight, and I honestly think Zamora won that fight. She got awarded a win there. The fight before that, Pettigrew, split again. So, like, Rendon's not, she's facing most of these girls I'm telling you are strikers, and she's having a hard time getting the fight to the ground. She's very clumsy. She's slow. I think this is an easy win for Mesquita, even though she's going up against another grappler. I think she's going to be stronger. I think she's on top. She's much, much better. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I know she hasn't faced the best level of opposition, but I would venture to say Irina Alisceva is better. Even though she's not good, she's better than Montserrat Rendon, and she ran right through Eleskeva in that fight. So, for me, I think it's one-sided. I think it's Bia Mesquita. I don't like Rendon. Even standing, she can beat Rendon. That's how bad Rendon is. So, yeah, give me Bia Mesquita here. I'm going to go with a sneaky KO here. Like, because Rendon is good with jiu-jitsu, maybe she doesn't get subbed. But I think Mesquita can finish her, honestly. I really do, with a ground and pound stoppage. So, yeah, I like Mesquita here pretty easy. Let's see. The Scottsdale, Arizona treadmill team is finally here. Now click the like button like they said. Do me that favor. We game all night. What's up, my man? Thank you for joining. Rayan, what's up? Thank you for the thumbs up. JC Emmett says, what up, Narco? Subscribe through Tails for support. Subscribe. What up, Narco? Subscribe through Tails for support. Appreciate you very, very much for supporting me. Let's see. The Mesquita. Yeah, I like the Mesquita here. Oh, Moise. I can't put that. Moise says Rendon got some beep. Jewish Spreader says in another world, she's 0-8. She honestly, like, you watch some of these fights and she's like winning close. It seems like every close decision has gone her way. It's weird. I guess Daria was kind of close, but it didn't go her way. So Rakic says, probably already said it, but Mesquita lost Juliana Miller in a grappling match. Not a great look. Rendon, horrific, though. Yeah, but I get it. She did lose to her years. Wait, Mesquita lost to? Oh, yeah, that was escape time. But do you know Rendon got subbed by Miller in jiu-jitsu, Nick? I think that's a worse look, right? She won by escape time, Juliana Miller. She subbed Rendon in jiu-jitsu. So I don't know if you knew that. But yeah, Mesquita's better, man. She's just better everywhere. In the ground and pound, it's not a jiu-jitsu match. Mesquita gets on top. She's got nasty ground and pound, man. I like it. Rendon got flattened out versus that one chick. If Bia does that, it's over. Yeah, Bia's strong, man. You look at her legs. She is strong. You have to admit, Rendon has some plot armor. I mean, Rendon looks physical, looks tough, but she's so sloppy, man. She is so fucking sloppy. Odds on Rendon by split. Probably big. I don't know. Is it out there? It's probably huge. Rendon by split, 1,800. That's how she wins, literally. I just played that instead of her money line, plus 1,800. Yeah, she beat both of them. Somehow Juliana Miller beat both of them. I would like to see Bia Mesquita against Juliana Miller now, honestly. Miller would probably get destroyed on the mat, just ground and pound. All right. Let's move on. What fight are we? Fight number 4, right? Yep. I don't want to take forever, like I said. All right. It is in the men's bantamweight division. It is the 13-3 Luan Lacerda versus the 14-1 Hetcher Sosa, minus 250 on Sosa, with the comeback on Lacerda at plus 210. So this is one where I watched Luan Lacerda, right? And his last fight against Simon Oliveira, he kind of was doing okay on the feet. He's got that good kicking game. He's pretty damn long. Even though he's 5'7", he's got a 71-inch reach, and he's got those long legs, it seems like. So he does a really good job throwing his body kicks. He switches stances sometimes, throw the kick. So he's really good with his kicks. His hands are not the best. He is kind of slow when it comes to hand speed and stuff like that. But, I mean, this guy's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a jiu-jitsu ace. He's very, very good on the ground. Very, very scary. Going for heel hooks, knee bars, all types of subs. So you got to be very, very careful when you're on the mat with this guy. If you want to see an incredible transition, okay, I will tell you, go watch the Marceli Alves fight versus Luan Lacerda, and you will see an absolute clinic of a transition in jiu-jitsu from Luan Lacerda. He goes, I think, from a calf slicer to like a back take into a rear naked choke. It was sick. And I will tell you, that guy Alves is a really, really good fighter right now. He's fighting and he's been dominating PFL. He just won their tournament. That guy's a really, really good fighter with a ton of power, very good takedown defense. And Lacerda, I mean, that transition, dude, it was insane. I mean, I think he lost round 1 there, but his transition was incredible in that submission. So this is a guy that you have to be very careful with. He did get pounded out going for, I think, like a heel hook or a knee bar against Blackshear, where he just kind of pounded him out on top. He took a beating from that pounding. But then the Stamen fight, I thought it was very close. You know, I think it could have given either way, to be fair. But Stamen's much harder to get down. You know, he's got great takedown defense. He's a wrestler. You know, so the fight mostly played out just striking. And Stamen kind of just was a little bit too fast for him, you know, because Lacerda is kind of slow. He's flat-footed. He's kind of slow. So, you know, standing wise, I don't really like his game too much. It's mostly kick reliant, and he's trying to close distance maybe to get the fight down. In this matchup, though, however, versus Hector Sosa kind of impressed with his game. I think he has a good overall game. I think he could grapple. I think he can strike. Got a very extensive amateur background. I think he has 17-5. Fought in the IMAF finals. You know, this guy's, when you look at his losses, even in the amateurs, you know, they're mostly to good guys. You know, outside of the last one, you know, Abdul Manap Magomedov is like a very good fighter. And all these other guys, Dylan, Georgiev, really, really good prospect right now. So he's lost to good guys in the Amis. The fight against Carlin there, where he got pounded out, wasn't the best look for Sosa. The other thing for Sosa is I do think he tends to grapple a little too much. Like he trusts his grappling. I think he's a brown belt, if I'm not mistaken, and he teaches jiu-jitsu. So I do think that he trusts his grappling a little bit too much. He put himself in some deep chokes against that Maxon Lee guy, who's very, very long and tall. So I get why he put himself in that. But I do think that he should not be messing around with the grappling here in this fight. I honestly do, because I don't think he's ever faced a grappler like Luan Lacerda, who's very, very good on the mat, very sneaky on the mat. He needs to mind his P's and Q's there, man. And from what I've seen from Hector Sosa is almost in all of his fights, there's grappling, you know, unless, you know, the ones that are ending very early, he's knocked out people very, very early. Outside of that, almost every single fight, it's hitting the mat with him. You know, he's either engaging or he's getting taken down. And that's where it gets dangerous for me. Like I think Sosa wins this fight, but I think I could see very easily where he engages with the grappling and just gets owned in the grappling against Luan Lacerda. Honestly, like that's what's scary, you know. That's what's scary about this fight for Sosa, because on the feet, I think he's the better striker. It's not close. You know, Lacerda's mostly kick reliant. Meanwhile, Hector Sosa throws big hands. He has power in his hands. He throws to the body. He has some kicks. So to me, he's a lot more well-rounded MMA fighter is Hector Sosa. But man, UFC debut. We have to always mention UFC debut. Big, big thing, you know, coming into the UFC, your first fight, you're going up against another guy that can really, really grapple his ass off if the fight hits the mat. So I think this is the kind of fight where it's going to matter on Hector Sosa's fight IQ. You know, if his fight IQ is good, he should win. If he engages too much in the grappling, I think there's potential he gets subbed. Not only loses, but potentially he could get subbed. So I'm going to go with Sosa here, but it's a scary fight for him. This is not as easy as what the odds indicate, honestly. I don't think it's that easy. If it's just standing, yes, I think he could potentially make it look easy. But if it hits the mat, it's not going to look easy at all. Let's see what we have here. Lacerda sub gonna send to Thailand for 2 years. I mean, yeah. Well, what is his sub? I don't even know. It's probably not that good, man. They know that's kind of his path. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, it's 650, but it's not great. Okay, but did he get the sub in the end or not? I don't know who you're talking to, or maybe you're talking to someone else in chat. I don't know. Okay. Sosa gonna dog walk him and get a KO in round 2, 3. He could. Absolutely. If it stays on the feet, he absolutely could. He's the much better striker and more power. All right. Let's move on. We're good pace here today. I like it. I like it. Fight number 5. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 10-3 Bolaji Oki versus the 13-1 Manuel Sosa. Currently, Sosa minus 270 and the comeback on Oki at plus 230. Man, what a great matchup. This to me is great matchmaking, man. Really, really good matchmaking, in my opinion. This is a banger of the fight. Balaji Oki is 2-2 in the UFC. He can easily be 4-0, honestly. He really can. Timmy Kwamba fight by split was disastrous. Like, there's no way that should have been a split. He clearly won 2 rounds. Aswell fight, obviously another fight where it's kind of a banger. He also won 2 rounds there. Mason Jones, man, he had him out of there. I mean, I had a bet on Mason Jones. I thought he would break him, and honestly, he was very, very close to being stopped. Balaji Oki hurt him very, very bad. But Mason Jones did Mason Jones things, man. You got to kill him to get him out of there. And he didn't kill him, and he came back and finished Oki. Duncan fight, I mean, he was toying with Duncan on the feet. And then he decided to let's wrestle and then get guillotined by Duncan. It was a not a smart thing to do. The one thing I will say with Oki that I haven't liked is his fight IQ tends to be questionable. He goes a little too hard too early, gets tired. He did that trying to finish Mason Jones, which I can't blame him for that, to be honest. But the Duncan fight, I definitely blame him. Like, why are you're teeing this guy up on the feet? Why are you going to the grappling? And then re-engage, what you get up one time from a guillotine, why did you re-engage again in the grappling? Fight IQ, definitely an issue for Balaji Oki. I don't like what I see from that aspect, but he's been training at I think it's at Extreme or Syndicate in Vegas, wherever it was. I think it was in Vegas. So he's getting some good looks. I believe better looks than what he's gotten before. Super skilled guy, very explosive, very athletic, very good, basically at all parts of the game. I would say maybe his jiu-jitsu is not the best. Jiu-jitsu defense is not the best. He could get taken down. We saw Kwamba take him down. And Kwamba's a 45er for the most part. So that was a little bit of a concern for Oki. But for the most part, like, this guy is really skilled, man. Very fast on the feet, very good striking, a wide variety of strikes. He throws nasty body shots. He's very quick. And he has a lot of power in his hands, tons of power in his hands. Beautiful stepping knees. He has, the guy is just really, really good overall. Very, very good fighter. But his opponent is also a really, really good fighter in Manuel Sosa. Manuel Sosa, for those of you who don't know, he has one loss. That was to Archie Colgan, who is undefeated, one of the biggest prospects out there. 13-0 undefeated fighter. No one's beat this guy. And Manuel Sosa gave him a run. He gave him a run. He landed some shots there. That's the thing with Sosa, man. His hands are like dynamite. He throws everything into every shot, every kick. He's throwing like very hard shots. He's got a ton of power. I want to take you guys back to 2019. Mauricio Rufy dropped Sosa in round 1, I believe it was. But then he came back and KO'd Mauricio Rufy very bad in round 2. So he has a win over Rufy in the regionals. He has a finishing win against Richard Martins, who's another big prospect and Richard Martins, who's a very good fighter. He also finished him in round 1. He's got a lot of like really good regional wins, Manuel Sosa, early in his career. I will say the Paulo Henrique fight, he didn't look great. There was just a bunch of like grappling back and forth, reversals, Kimuras, all types of nonsense in the grappling in that fight. Sosa did kind of get had in the grappling, which is a little bit of a bad look. And then the Christian Perez fight, last fight, get mounted, get your back taken, not the best look in that Contender Series fight, but showed a lot of resolve, showed a lot of heart, because he was getting destroyed in round 1, even in parts of round 2, but came back and showed a ton of heart and finished Perez in round 3 and just broke him. Perez was gassed very bad. So I think this is an explosive fight, guys. Really, really explosive fight. But, I can't sit here and say that Balaji Oki's plus 230, man. This guy is more experienced in the UFC. This is a UFC debut for Sosa, fighting a really good fighter. Like, they're not giving him an easy matchup here in this first fight. And Balaji Oki's a tank himself. He hits very, very hard. Sosa, I've seen him drop before. He's gotten hurt before. Balaji Oki can definitely put your lights out. And he almost, when we talk about the last fight and how he almost finished a guy like Mason Jones, is one of the most durable guys out there. I don't think Mason Jones has ever been finished. Let me see. Mason Jones has never been finished in 19 fights, including some UFC fights against some big hitters, against Mike Davis, against David Onama, against Ludovic Klein. His guy's like super, super durable, and he was this close from finishing that guy. So I think this line's a little bit too wide here. Even though I love what I see from Sosa, I think he's super explosive, super powerful. I think this is just a violent fight, man. This is a violent fight one way or another. One of these guys is probably going to get finished. Who it is, I don't know. I kind of lean towards Sosa probably getting the finish. He's minus 270, but that line's too wide. Like, if you're going to play a money line here, it's got to be Balaji Oki at plus 230. This line cannot be accurate based on what I've seen from both guys. Sosa, there is a world maybe he gets on top potentially with takedowns, but Balaji Oki is a good grappler himself, man. And we've seen Sosa kind of get run over in the grappling from this last guy. It was not the best look against Christian Perez. I was kind of shocked, actually, to think that Christian Perez can like kind of hoss him around like that and early on. And if he could do that, I'm sure Oki's strong enough to do that to him, which that's the concern too for Manuel Sosa. So for me, it's going to be Oki at this current price. I think this price is a little too wide, but overall, I think this is violence, man. This is a violent fight. And I think one of these guys is going to get finished. Pretty certain one of these guys getting finished. Let's move on. Fight number 6. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 15-2-1 Mesquita Orolbai versus the 32-12 Chris Curtis. Currently, Orolbai is up to minus 300. And man, they're giving us a generous plus 250 now on Chris Curtis. So, I mean, Curtis, the first thing sticks out is his age, man. He's 38 years old. I mean, he's up there. He's old. He's old at this point. He's not young. I think he's turning 39, if I'm not mistaken. In July. He's turning 39. He's coming off that close split to Griffin. The other win was the close split against Marc-Andre Barrio. This is the thing with Chris Curtis is win or lose, for the most part, he fights close. He fights close because of his style. He's got good takedown defense. He's a constant forward pressure guy with, boxing style, very heavy lead leg, southpaw, throws big shots, uppercuts, works the body, and he's, for the most part, very durable, right? The problem for Chris Curtis is he doesn't separate from anyone either. Like, he's there to be hit. He shells up a lot, looking to counter you. He could get taken down. Now, we've seen a lot of success from Brandon Allen, getting him down, getting his back. You know, Allen's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but doesn't have necessarily have the best wrestling. But he mixed it in there. He got takedowns. You know, the other one was Imavov got a couple of takedowns on him, right? And the issue here in this fight is that Mektabek Orolbai is probably a better wrestler than both of those guys. You know, it's a good chain wrestler, strong. He seems to be very, very strong, even at 70. He can mix takedowns here. And honestly, on the feet, I don't even think it's that much of a blowout. Like, Mektabek can throw. He has power. He did knock out Hermanson last fight. And Curtis is just there to be hit. He's going to stand there. Mektabek is probably going to throw up top and then level change into a takedown, you know, and catch Chris Curtis by surprise. It's the apex. It's a smaller cage. Mektabek can easily, you know, cage push and try to chain wrestle along the fence. Even though Chris has good takedown defense, he can get taken down, man. And so now at age 38, the takedown defense for me has fallen off. And the other guy is 28. Right? He's on a trajectory that's looking pretty damn good for him, even though he lost to Rebecca there. But he's got 2 straight finishes. He is 4-1 in the UFC. He has a finish over Uras Matic, who's looking pretty damn good. Right? So it's hard here for Chris Curtis. This is an uphill battle, man. And Orolbai is very, very durable, too. That's the other thing. He can take shots, man. He can take shots really well. Yeah, I just kind of think he's probably going to get grappling going. He's probably going to mix, you know, get some striking going as well. I don't really love Chris Curtis in 2026, man. Like, just unless he hurts Orolbai or finishes him, it's hard for me to envision a decision win for Curtis here. Maybe a split, some kind of split just off big moments and stuff and pressure. I think Orolbai gets him down. I think he can even hurt Curtis on the feet, to be honest. So I'm going to go with Orolbai here. It's not like some big take or anything. I just feel like 2 different trajectories in their career. One guy is probably playing out his career. The other guy is, you know, looking to level up his career. So I like Orolbai here. I think I wouldn't even be surprised if he finishes Curtis, to be honest. But whether he be on top with ground and pound, even though Curtis is good at reversals and stuff, but Orolbai is really good on top and maybe even hurting Curtis on the feet. So, yeah, I think it's Orolbai here all day. I think he's I'm going to go with decision just because Curtis is a veteran and stuff, but it's Mektabek Orolbai for me here. DO7, Chris Curtis going to get dog walked. I agree. Chris getting sparked and raising his hands like he won. Yeah. Or you guys forgot Chris complaining about something in the middle of the fight. Eye poke, a low blow. He's crying. You know, that happens every Chris Curtis fight. Chris Curtis just won't have no answer besides the heart level. Not the same. Yeah, I agree. I just don't think Chris Curtis is the same anymore, man. He's old. He's been through wars, cuts, this and that. Like, yeah. Half the battle. Smash the like button for my brother Narco. He says, thank you, Dan. Dan Levy, Half the Battle podcast. Go over there, support him, my man. What else? Doesn't the Rebecca fight scare you for Orolbai? Not really. Not really, because Rebecca is a much better grappler than Curtis. That's why. You know, yes, they're both southpaw, but I do think Rebecca throws with more intent. Curtis has power, sure. He's a better boxer than Rebecca, sure. But Rebecca throws those big, huge overhand, looping overhands, and he's just a much better technical grappler overall, like defensively and offensively. Like, he got on top of Orolbai. There's no chance Chris Curtis is taking down Orolbai, you know? So I think from that aspect, it's a different matchup. It's a different matchup because Rebecca can defensively grapple. He's strong in the grappling. And I don't think Chris Curtis is there. You know, I honestly think his defensive wrestling has fallen off quite a bit, man. I mean, we're going from a guy that was at one point had like, I don't know, 90% takedown defense, maybe even better, to what is it now? Let's see. 82. I think he was over. I think he had never. Yeah, actually, I take it back. He had never ever been taken down prior to the Imavov fight 2 years ago. Never been taken down in the UFC. I think they were like 0-40 or something. And then Imavov came along, hit 3 out of 4 takedowns on him. And Imavov is good grapple, but not that good, right? And then you see Brandon Allen go 6 for 13 against him. Again, Allen's not the best wrestler. If those guys are getting him down like that, Orolbai can definitely get him down more than 6 times. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference, I think. I think that Chris Curtis has sailed, man. The one that was, people were 0-30 as far as takedowns. That guy is gone. He's not the same. So, all right. Let's kick it up and move on. Fight number 7. It's in the middleweight division. It is the 17-9 Eric Anders versus the 21-11 Brad Tavares. Currently, Tavares minus 138 and the comeback on Anders at plus 118. Man, 38 years old against 38 years old. 6'1", 6'1", 75 inch reach, 74 inch reach. These guys are like identical. One guy has 26 fights. The other guy has 32 fights. Eric Anders is obviously a southpaw. Tavares is an orthodox fighter. And, I mean, these guys are towards the tail end of their career. But we want to put some context in this fight. It's very important. When you look at Eric Anders' last fight, right, got ended early with a spinning elbow against Leroy Duncan. He tried to, I think, grapple some in that fight and didn't really have success. Got obviously finished in round 1. The fight before that, Chris Weidman, actually, he got dropped in the Duncan fight, right? Chris Weidman fight, he got dropped by Chris Weidman as well, right? The fight before that, Jamie Pickett, who's low-level fighter, dropped him again in that fight, dropped Eric Anders with the right hand, if I'm not mistaken. And the fight before that against Marc-Andre Barrios again got dropped in that fight. 4 straight UFC fights, this guy's been dropped, okay? And if you go and you look at Eric Anders prior to that, prior to these last 4 fights, he had only been dropped by Khalil Roundtree. That's it. Prior to that. And then last 4 fights, everybody's dropping him. Pickett is dropping him. Marc-Andre Barrios is dropping him. Weidman dropped this guy, guys. This guy's chin seems to be gone completely. His chin is dust. That's 1. 2, listen to his last interview with James Lynch. Shout out to James Lynch. I like him. Friend of mine. Does probably some of the best interviews. Eric Anders said this is his retirement fight. He's done after this. Okay? He opened up his own gym called Ya Boy Gym Fitness. It's not for fighters. It's only for people that want to train and get in fitness. So that's why it's called Ya Boy Fitness. So he clearly stated that in the interview. He goes, I don't want fighters here. He says he's talking about his real estate. He's concentrating on his business. He doesn't really have training partners there at his gym, so he had to go a little to Spartan Fitness, which is there in Alabama, to train a little bit. The guy is just 9 toes out, man. He's 9 toes out. You listen to that interview, so bearish. So bearish for a guy that's been finished or knocked down in the last 4 fights. It's a bearish interview, man. This guy, I don't think he has his heart in fighting anymore. You could tell. He says he has money. He's okay with leaving. Unless he got asked if he's going to do boxing or dirty boxing or something like that. He says they have to back up the Brinks truck to my front door for me to go do that. So it's a retirement fight, all these things he's mentioning. It's just very, very bearish. And listen, Brad Tavares is near his end of his career too. He's 38 years old. He's got a bunch of UFC fights. 100% he's near the end as well. He got finished against Robert Brejček. Didn't look great. I will say Robert Brejček hits hard. He's very fast when it comes to his boxing. And he just went out there and it was a good performance. I mean, he hurt Tavares bad early on in round 1. And Tavares never looked the same for the rest of the fight. So I think at least Tavares showed heart, came back, threw some shots himself in round 2 and stuff like that. And then got finished late in that fight. But you look at these other fights, and Jung Young Park 2 fights ago, it's a close fight, man, against Brad Tavares. Jung Young Park is pretty good still, and he's at least fighting close. He's looking good in these fights. He's not getting dropped in every fight. You know what I'm saying? He dominated Chris Weidman, whereas, Eric Anders got dropped by Chris Weidman, and he fought Weidman, whatever, a year and a half ago, whatever it was. It's just, for me, it's like Tavares, when you listen to his interview, he's saying that, hey, I'm looking to get to 40 fights in my career. I want at least 7 more after this. I still love training. He's talking about how he loves to go to Extreme Couture and train. And it's completely different mindset when I listen to these guys in interviews. One guy he still has the hunger to train and fight. The other guy wants out in Anders. So when I listen to these to these interviews, when I see these guys in the last couple of fights and how I see them fighting and the heart and the resilience, I just don't like what I've seen from Anders, man. His wins have been Chris Weidman and Jamie Pickett. The other one was Daukus, but that was 3.5 years ago, over 3 years ago, I just don't like what I've seen from this guy, honestly. I don't like what I've seen from Anders. I don't think he can grapple necessarily here. Tavares still has very good takedown defense, get up game. It's probably going to be striking. He said it's going to be striking. Kind of leaning Tavares here, to be honest, at this price, almost pick him. Just the trajectory, not even trajectory, the mindset of these two guys, completely different for me. So, Ahote Brown says the gym is very clearly for training MMA, but yes, training for MMA, but he doesn't want any pro fighters, he said in his gym. Listen to the interview. I mean, if you want to listen to what he says, as far as that's how I got I don't know anything about his gym. It's his own interview that he says, this is not a fighting gym. It's just for coming here, training, and getting into good shape. That's it. So that's what he refers to his gym as. So listen to that interview with James Lynch, and it will tell you. He tells you himself, the owner of the gym, that it's not an MMA gym. So, no, not lifting. No. Learning how to strike, learning jiu-jitsu, but not for pros, it's just for training and getting into fitness. Yeah, I guess you misinterpreted what I said. Yeah, he does have jiu-jitsu, he does have striking, but it's not for fighters. It's not a fighter's gym, he said. I never rated Anders, to be honest. I still think of him as a football guy. Yeah, I mean, he kind of is. Bro, no way you can bet on Tavares right now. I haven't bet him. I'm saying if there's anyone I'm going to bet, it's the mindset. It's Tavares, 100%. Telling you. There's no way I could trust Anders. He's done. Brad is going to want it more. Trust me, put the bag on Brad. I think he's going to want it more. William Robbins, what's up? Thank you for joining, my friend. All right. We had 286 viewers. Please subscribe, tell others about my channel if you can. Doing these breakdowns every week. Next week it's going to be a recorded one, hopefully, with some highlights, other good stuff on there. Also, one quick note, I will mention this at the end of the channel as well. Lambo Plays podcast this week is not going to be on Friday night. It would be on Saturday. Time to be determined. It's probably Saturday morning sometime. Potentially 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Eastern, something like that before the card. So Lambo Plays podcast this week is going to be on Saturday because I am going to the LFA event here in Arizona. So let's move on. Fight number 8. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 15-7-2 Bruno Silva versus the 18-8 Charles Johnson. And currently Charles Johnson is minus 185. Comeback on Silva's plus 160. So line is coming down a little bit here. Let's talk quickly about Charles Johnson. I think he's coming back a little too soon. He took this fight on short notice. It's a month and a half off the knockout loss. I don't like that too much. He took a lot of punishment, man, before the fight got stopped, man. He was hurt very bad, face planted, took a lot of follow-up shots, man. The toughness and heart he showed in that, props to him, man. A lot of props to Charles Johnson for showing the heart in that fight, man. Like, he tried to fight. He tried to fight out of that. And in my mind, I'm like, if he fights out of this, he's probably going to come back and put it on Perez. But he just couldn't. He could not muster it. His legs were gone. Every time he tried to clinch, he just didn't have the legs. He didn't have the legs to clinch or move around. He was stumbling and eventually got finished. And, that was January 24th. This fight is March 14th. We're talking about a month and a half. Comeback off a lot of punches being taken in that fight, being knocked out. He is 35. He's not very young, And now Bruno Silva, he's also not young. He's like a year older. I think it's Bruno Silva's birthday week, actually. Let me see. Yeah. March 16th. So 2 days after the event, it's Bruno Silva's birthday. He's going to be 36. So we can necessarily say this guy's 36. He's a year older than Charles Johnson. He is at Fight Ready here in Arizona. I don't really like that. Fight Ready is kind of, everybody's gone from the gym. They really don't have many pros. We saw last week or a couple weeks ago, the guy from Mexico, Zellhuber, he was at Fight Ready. We saw how that went for him against Bobby Green. It was a terrible look. It looked awful. Fight Ready just doesn't really have anybody right now. They don't have bodies. They don't have good, good pro fighters. They don't have UFC guys really. Bruno Silva kind of stuck there. He came obviously when the gym was good, and now everybody's gone. The main coach is gone. He retired. And now he's left with kind of like nobody there. Eddie Cha's there, but Santino's gone. Shout out to him. And when you look at Bruno Silva, honestly, he looked good in his last fight against Park. Now, the problem is, how bad is this guy Park? He came to the UFC hyped. They gave him Tatsuro Taira Hernandez. He looked really, really good, subbing Hernandez, knocking out Shannon Ross, finishing that other Choi guy. He had 3 straight finishes, and they're hyping this guy up. He goes and faces Tatsuro Taira and gets absolutely destroyed, gets dropped, gets finished. Then he goes against Bruno Silva, again gets destroyed. Bruno Silva beat this guy pillar to post every single round, grappled him, subbed him. So the 2 losses prior to that, honestly, for Bruno Silva were not bad. I mean, it's Manuel Cape and Joshua Van, potentially 2 of the best flyweights in the world right now, right? He gets Park and he just ragdolls him. The fight before that, I have a little bit issue with Cody Durden fight where he's kind of getting outstruck, getting hurt a little bit in that fight. It's an issue, but Cody Durden is dangerous early in fights. He throws hard. He has power. We've seen him have success on the feet. So, again, I don't really blame him. When you look at the losses for this guy, it's Tagir Ulanbekov. Dvorak is not a great loss years ago, but it's Cape and Van. I mean, really, really good fighters. Now, I will say, when Johnson does face good fighters, he tends to rise to the occasion. He does well. You see him, knocking out Kavanaugh, even though he wasn't looking good in that fight. That's Charles Johnson. He loses round 1, but he comes back in rounds 2 and 3 and finishes guys. He has this big win over Joshua Van where he knocked him out in round 3. So it's an interesting matchup because it's hard to trust Charles at minus 189. He's usually a very good dog, right? He's an extremely good dog to back. But as a favorite, and I'm honest, almost 200 favorite, it's hard because historically he loses round 1 at a very, very, very high clip, man. It's just alarming how often this guy loses round 1. We can go back and Perez obviously got finished him. Kavanaugh round, he was losing easily. Tamarov, he lost. The only round one I remember him winning was Madarji. I think he might have won the Van round one potentially because Van was a slow starter as well. But man, all these other ones he's lost round one in. And he's talked about it himself. You know, he got so used to fighting 5 rounds in the regionals that he thinks there's all this time in the world to come back and win fights. And it's not how it is when it's 3 rounds. So Bruno looked good in his last fight. Charles Johnson didn't look so good. Obviously, he got finished. Short notice for Johnson. Silva's been training for a fight. I lean Silva at the money line. Honestly, I can't back Johnson at this. I think Johnson's a better live bet. Just let's see how he reacts to shots in round one. You know, Silva does have power. He is very good on the mat as well. Extremely good grappler. Let's see what Johnson looks like early on. You know, let's see what he looks like. Does he look good? And if that's the case, maybe you can back him. You know, if he does lose round one and he looks good losing round one, let's say he's competitive and it's close and, you know, he's taking shots well, then yeah, I might back Johnson then when he's plus 150 or whatever it is live, you know, but I can't bet him right now as a favorite at minus 189. It's too hard. Short notice, coming off a knockout. I mean, hasn't really looked good for 2 fights. I mean, even Kavanaugh fight, he didn't look great up until the KO. So I love Charles. He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine as well. But I'm going to have to be real, you know. It's hard to back Charles at this price, especially when he's losing round one at very, very high clip. You know, he is losing round one. But potential very good live spot as well for Charles Johnson here. Let's see. What do we got? Chat. Charles by knockout. Bruno sucks. Charles reach will touch up Bruno. I wouldn't say Bruno sucks, man. He's a talented guy. Bruno's a good fighter. I don't say he sucks, honestly. He's got power in his hands. He's a very good grappler. You cannot say he sucks, man. He is a good fighter. Respect to CJ. Bruno's a dog, though. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. Too many close consecutive weight cuts for Charles Johnson. I should have seen that coming. Yeah, that too. It's another weight cut now off a knockout. And Charles is big. 5'9". He's a big guy. Charles by decision since Bruno birthday. Weird. Johnson beat Kavanaugh and Van. That's all I need to say. Yeah, but that's not how it works. Well, Johnson, he beat Van and Kavanaugh, but he got knocked out by Perez, who's been losing to everybody lately, and Tamarov. So, I don't know. All right. Let's move on. Fight number 9. It is in the heavyweight division. It is the 7-1 Steven Asplund versus the 13-2 Vitor Petrino. Petrino minus 260. Comeback on Asplund plus 220. Asplund's fun, man. He's on the feet. He's throwing a million strikes. Last fight, guys, I got news for you guys. In 1.5 rounds, in 8 minutes and 49 seconds of fight time, this guy landed 170 significant strikes. He threw 292 significant strikes in a round and a half, a little over a round and a half. This guy is absolute animal on the feet, just throwing punches. A lot of them are arm punches. A lot of them are short, like little rabbit punches, uppercuts, anything he can touch you with, he's throwing. He's got very good cardio for heavyweight. He's got very good volume, obviously, for heavyweight. He's a big guy, 6'5", 78-inch reach. He's only 27. And he's fighting a guy in Vitor Petrino who moved up to heavyweight, right? He has 2 fights in the heavyweight division against Austin Lane and Thomas Peterson. He's 2-0, both by finishes. Important note here, Petrino is fighting Asplund's training partner, Thomas Peterson here. I'm sorry. He fought Asplund's former training or training partner, Thomas Peterson. Now he's fighting Asplund. So he's fighting 2 guys that train together back to back. And Petrino looked pretty good against Peterson, you know, using wrestling. Peterson could not take him down. He looked faster. He looked better on the feet. Obviously, he knocked out Peterson. He has really, really good power. I mean, even at heavyweight, you could see this guy was probably killing himself to make light heavyweight, if we're being honest. in his first fight at heavyweight against Asplund, took him down easily, ragdolled him on the mat, good ground and pound, eventually subbed him. My problem with Asplund is his takedown defense is not good. He looks like an absolute fish on the ground. I mean, forget about the fight where he gets finished by the UFC fighter. What's his name? Let me go look. Denzel Freeman, right? Forget about that fight where he gets kind of ragdolled, gets finished. But I go back to that Kovic's fight, and he's very close to getting finished in round 1 as well. He gets flattened out, gets his back taken. He's flat on his stomach, getting pounded away on. And then gets mounted in that same fight. He's getting beat up. It's just a terrible look versus a guy that's has shit wrestling, that's 3-4 as a pro. Just a terrible look, you know. And for me, it's like I'm looking at this fight. Vitor Petrino can easily take down Asplund. I'm not even doubting that one bit. And then on top, he's much better than these other guys. Kovacs, even way better than Freeman. So this is like a fight where Asplund has to get his ass kicked and survive early. And maybe if Vitor is tired, he could put it on him late. That's the only way I see this fight going, honestly. If Vitor Petrino has half a brain, he's taking this fight to the mat. And he did that against Asplund. He caught the kick, got the trip takedown, got on top, and suffocated him. Asplund's just very, very bad, man. Very bad on the mat. Super, super green. This guy's got to be a white belt on the mat. And yes, he's tough. Yes, he's durable. Yes, he has good cardio. But when you're on flat on the mat, and you have no idea what the fuck you're doing against a guy in Petrino who just got his black belt, let's say, he just got his black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's a big levels difference on the mat. Even on the feet, honestly, Asplund's there to be, his chin is there to be cracked, and Petrino hits very fucking hard. So is it going to shock me if Petrino drops this guy or knocks him? Like, listen, you can be tough for so long. You cannot just eat flush shots at heavyweight. You're going to get knocked out. And listen, Asplund's been hurt before in these fights. I believe it was Larry Gonzalez or one of these guys hurts him in that fight on the feet. So Asplund has to survive an ass kicking, possibly the ground. And I will say Vitor Petrino does kind of look shaky with the cardio late. So maybe Asplund can weather the storm and come back late here. But nah, man. I mean, the difference in levels as far as this fight hitting the mat, it's like night and day. So I think Petrino's going to finish him on the mat, honestly. Like, it's going to either be ground and pound or sub. It could be both. It's probably sub because Asplund's just, he's unaware of what he's doing. I mean, he's going belly down on the mat and giving up his neck. And, you know, Denzel's not a great jiu-jitsu guy, and he almost had him in the beginning and then lost it. And then Kovacs almost had him and lost it. Petrino's probably going to finish those positions, and his squeeze is very, very strong. So I like Vitor here. I can't play Asplund. The only way I'm playing Asplund's live, right? That's it. Dia says Petrino's classic fade material. Yeah, but I don't know about against the guy with no takedown defense, man. No ground game. It's not good. Asplund 2-3 if he survives. Correct. I agree with that. We have to BK Vitor right by knockout. I think he can knock him out. He honestly can. If Asplund fought like Country Roy, I would bet the house on him, but he has zero ground game. Zero. Subbed by Denzel Freeman. This wasn't the matchup for Asplund. Yeah, I agree. You don't think Asplund will be the guy? I don't think so. I mean, he's fun and everything, but this is a bad matchup. This dude has been a huge dog and beat the living shit out of his opponent in every fight so far. But who are the opponents? That's the question. Who are the opponents? And he wasn't a dog. He was a big favorite, actually. Are you talking about Asplund? If you're talking about Asplund, he was a big favorite last fight. He was minus 220. He was a dog against the guy in Contender Series, but he was a small dog. So Yeah, I mean, this is a levels match, in my opinion. So one guy's levels better, but he could gas going for a finish. And if he doesn't finish, yes, I could see a path for Asplund later. Let's move on. Fight number 10. We're at good pace. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. It is in the featherweight division. It is a 13-4-1 Harry Hardwick versus the 7-0 Marwan Rahiki. Rahiki minus 275 now, actually. And the comeback on Hardwick at plus 235. Going into tape, I thought maybe I might play Hardwick, right? I'm like, pre-tape, okay, guys, I might play Hardwick here because Rahiki, I remember, was kind of green, made some mistakes. He got hurt really bad in Contender Series. I'm like, okay, I might play Hardwick. I mean, Hardwick first matchup, short notice, up a weight class, in lightweight against a good striker, a very good kicker in Kawhi Fernandez. And he got basically calf kick knocked out, right? He couldn't even walk on both legs. He got both legs taken out from under him. And I'm like, okay, he's a big dog here. I might play him because his regional resume is not bad. I mean, Kawani Lopez is a good fighter. He finished him. Javier Garcia, another decent fighter. He won there. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to get a shot here against Marwan Rahiki to fade this young guy from Australia. I watched tape, and I'm actually very impressed with Rahiki, man. Even though he got hurt, he got dropped, he almost got finished multiple times in round one, right? I like the adversity. I like that he showed a ton of heart for a young guy. Man, the Mulumba guy hits very hard. He's very athletic, powerful. He landed some bombs on him, man. And he was hurt very, very bad. He could have been stopped, and I would be okay with the fight being stopped, you know. But to come back from that and show resolve and even drop Mulumba in round one, I like what I saw from that. Like, the heart was there. The resilience was there for a 23-year-old in a big spot. You know, he showed, I can fight back. I can come back from adversity and even finish the fight, which he did. And when I look at this guy striking, it's very good, man. Defensively, awful. He leaves himself there to be cracked, which he was. He leaves his chin out there to be cracked. It was. But offensively, he is super fast, super dangerous, throws everything into his shots. I could see a scenario where he could potentially slow down in this fight, and Hardwick could maybe take over later because this guy's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you. I also could see a scenario where Hardwick could potentially get the fight to the ground. I've seen Rahiki getting taken down. He's not the best on the mat. But Hardwick is like, man, super unathletic, very slow, flat-footed, doesn't have a ton of power. Every fight he's winning is attritionally breaking guys. He gets his ass kicked, and then he breaks guys and finishes them. And it's like every single fight, it's like this with this guy. You know, he's basically taking over fights in the second half of the fight. But he's also not facing great strikers like this kid. This kid's a very, very good striker. Super dangerous. Throw a ton of power in his hands. You know, how does Hardwick win this fight? I mean, he has to probably go grappling early and often. I do think Hardwick has good jiu-jitsu. I do think he's very good on top, but he doesn't have great wrestling. That's the issue. And I've seen Rahiki against Gabriel Schlup, who is actually a good fighter with very good jiu-jitsu, black belt jiu-jitsu, was on top of him, and he used an exceptional butterfly sweep, right? He grabbed the wizard, butterfly sweep, and he got up. It was impressive to see from a young guy, you know, who's probably leveling up like crazy, this guy. And he's been training with Volk, which is a huge plus. He is a good fighter, in my opinion. You know, I think he's going to get just better and better and better, this guy. But his striking is dangerous, man. He is like, if Harry Hardwick had power in his hands, I would be very scared here because he gets hit. Rahiki gets hit, but Harry Hardwick really doesn't have a lot of power. So I like Rahiki here. I think he gets it done, man. I think he's going to put a beating on Hardwick, honestly. I really do. I think he's going to knock out Hardwick. That's my feeling here. And I know Harry Hardwick is only knockout loss was calf kicks against Fernandez, but this guy hits super hard and he's so fast. And I think Hardwick is in big trouble here. So the other thing to think about is UFC's in UK next week, yet they put Hardwick on a Vegas card a week before. Just kind of doesn't make sense. It smells like Hardwick, you're not that good. Let us feed you to this young, hungry, up and coming guy. So I like Rahiki here. Has Hardwick fought since he got carried out of the cage? Nope. That was September 6th. What else do we have? Julio Rodriguez says, best MMA podcast out there by far. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, my man. Rahiki will win. Harry just got knocked out, but he came back too early. He will get knocked out again. Yeah, he got knocked out with leg kicks, though. Rahiki doesn't throw a lot of leg kicks. I don't think that matters as far as getting knocked out. It's the way he got knocked out is completely different. He wasn't knocked out to the head. So Malumba would finish Hardwick easily. Yeah, I mean, potentially. Yeah, he hits hard. He hits very hard. 8-year age difference, correct? Yeah, I mean, Hardwick's 31, so he's not old, so not that big of a deal, but I just think the striking, the speed, the accurate, it's just a big deal in this fight. It's a very big deal, in my opinion. And I am actually impressed with Rahiki. If he could shore up his defense on the feet, this guy is dangerous on the feet, man. Very dangerous. And then obviously he's got to work on his takedown defense, ground game. That will come. He's only 23, so. Okay. Move on. Fight number 11. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 25-12 Andre Fili versus the 10-2 Jose Delgado. Currently, Jose Delgado minus 350 and the comeback on Fili at plus 285. Really intriguing matchup in the sense that, you know, both guys like to strike for the most part. Fili can strike. Fili can grapple. So can Jose Delgado. I mean, he could strike and grapple as well. Jose Delgado's coming off that close loss to Nathaniel Wood where he missed weight, where I think he won the fight, honestly. When I rewatched it, I honestly think Jose Delgado won that fight. But they gave it to Nathaniel Wood. Prior to that, he had impressive knockout against Hyder Emil right away, so that was a good look for him. Hyder Emil has not looked great, let's say, the last couple of fights, so I don't know what to make of him. He's kind of just a crazy madman. And Andre Fili's coming off that nice win against Christian Rodriguez, where, again, I don't think that should have been a split. I mean, one judge had a 30-27. I think 30-27 was better than 29-28 Rodriguez. And what impressed me in that fight against Fili more than anything is the fact that he used grappling really well in round 3 to secure that win. Fili is a good grappler. You know, if he wants to grapple, he's a good grappler. The problem is Fili in that Costa fight, I will say till this day, I don't know what that was. But I can tell you, watching that fight, something was very suspect about that submission. I don't know what it was, but man, that did not look right. The submission, the way he was in half guard, popped his head out, put his head back in while in half guard, did not attempt to go to side control while you're in a guillotine. When the guy didn't even have a tight half guard, he could have easily jumped to the side. He didn't. He could have easily fought the hands. He didn't. He could have easily rolled over from half guard to his back at least to relieve some pressure. He didn't. Just decided to tap real quick. I don't know what the hell was going on with that submission, but it was very awkward against a guy like Costa. And then the other thing is, Delgado kind of fights similar to Costa. He's southpaw, but he switched stances, but he kicks a lot with that back leg. He's got very good kicks to the body, head, inside leg kicks. Fili's kind of the same. You know, he can switch stances. He can kick. He can also strike. I like Jose Delgado as a prospect. I think he's really good. He's got those very good stepping knees. Super dangerous with his elbows. I do think that he can be had a little bit with the grappling. I will say that. Watching back the Conor Matthews fight, couple of takedowns there from Connor Matthews earlier, where he just one of them where he picked him up and just slammed him. I do think that Fili could grapple him here. Honestly, Fili's good on the mat, man. He's very good. He just doesn't use it very often, but he used it last fight. And the other thing I like with Andre Fili is that now he's living in Vegas full time. He's no longer at Team Alpha Male. He is at Syndicate, where he's training with good guys. You could see it. Even Christian Rodriguez is actually there training with him now. His last opponent. I mean, the thing with Andre Fili is like he's a little bit older, right? He's probably near the tail end of his career, 37 fights. Huge, obviously, discrepancy in experience and the level of opposition. But yeah, Fili can grapple, man. I mean, look at this. 2 takedowns against Swanson, 3 last fight, 1 against Costa, which was very weird. And when the guy wants, he can grapple. You know, he can grapple. He's a good grappler. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I kind of feel like this is a lot more competitive, honestly, than minus 350. I can't look at this fight and say, you know, I like Delgado. Do I think he wins? Yes, I think he wins. I'll say that flat out. But is he a minus 350 against Fili? I don't think so. I don't think so. Fili has a type of game where he makes fights close. He's well-rounded. He's a good striker himself. You know, Delgado can get hit. Delgado can get, I mean, Nathaniel Wood dropped Delgado in round 1. You go back and look at Delgado against Alberto Romo. He gets dropped very bad with an overhand right. So he's there to be hit. He throws these kicks, and for whatever reason, instead of switching, you know, your hand up, he doesn't put his hands up. They're down, so he can get clipped. Line kind of doesn't make sense to me at minus 350. I'll be honest with you. The only thing that scares me is Fili has done Fili things before, and it's hard to click a guy like that. But you're not clicking a minus money. You're clicking a big underhog here at plus 285, who has way more experience, who's faced way better people, and who has, in my opinion, a grappling edge in this fight. I think he's the better grappler of the two. So Delgado minus 350. Is he a good fighter? Sure. Is he an uppercomer? Sure. But I don't think he should be minus 350 here. I really don't. I think this line's a little too wide, and people are just auto saying, oh, Delgado, you know, he's the future. He's this, he's that. Fili's washed. Minus 350. So I don't know. Andre Sussy Fili after Costa sub, you can't. Yeah. I mean, that's the fight. I don't know what he was doing there. Small World says, bro, I'm saying Mel Costa fights are fixed. It could be. It could honestly be. Fili's a LOLQ guy. Yes, he's questionable. Definitely questionable. Joseph says, under 1.5 plus 20 seems like a good play. Rahiki's all action. Oh, for the other fight? Yeah. Yeah, but you think, how does Hardwick finish him under 1.5? That's the question. Doesn't really have power. I think if Hardwick finishes, it's probably later, you know? Narcop has such love for these guys. I can respect that. I mean, I bet Fili, I think, last time against Christian Rodriguez, and everybody was shitting on me for that pick. Let me see. Did I bet him? I'm pretty sure I bet him against C-Rod. Yeah, I did. Plus 210. I had 1 unit on him at plus 210 last time. I bet him again. I even bet him against Costa, and that was terrible, obviously. I bet him actually at plus 210 against Cub Swanson, and I think that fight was, I'm sorry, I bet Cub Swanson against him at plus 210, and I think Cub Swanson got robbed in that fight. I think Cub Swanson won that fight. I've actually been pretty damn right on this guy. I bet Joe Anderson Brito against him at plus 220. I was right. And I bet him against Algio for 3 units, and I was right. So I've been pretty spot on with Andre Fili. It's not like I've bet him all the time. I faded him twice. It should have been correct twice. And I bet him 3 times. And I've, outside of the Costa one, I've been right the other 2. So been pretty consistent with Fili. I think plus 285 is too wide. I really do. Maybe I'm wrong. I could eat my words here, but let's move on. Fight number 12 in the light heavyweight division. It is the 19-11-1 Ion Cutelaba versus the 12-1 Omar Sy. Currently, C is a minus 240 favorite with the comeback on Cutelaba plus 205. I didn't do a ton of tape on this. I'll tell you guys up front. I watched only a couple of fights on both guys. Omar Sy looked good last fight, obviously. Just kind of mauled Ribeiro in the grappling and eventually finished him with via ground and pound. He's a huge guy. That's the thing. Omar Sy is huge. He is 6'4", 83-inch reach. So you could see 8-inch reach advantage, 3-inch height advantage. He can grapple. He can strike some. I don't really love his striking, but he can definitely grapple. He's got pretty good cardio, honestly, for a heavyweight. Menifee fight, he had a lot of trouble with takedown, and Menifee has great takedown defense. I could see him struggling early with Cutelaba, trying to get the fight down. Or maybe Cutelaba mixes in the takedowns. I don't know. Here early, he could potentially mix takedowns and maybe get C down. But man, the size, the athleticism, the speed, everything favors C here. You know, I don't think he's a great fighter. I don't think he's like some world beater, C. But Cutelaba's like early or nothing. You know, he's good early, but he slows down big time. I think C has the better cardio. I think C over the majority of the fight is going to have more grappling success. I think he's a little bit better on the feet, even, you know, just mixing in the kicks and the striking. But I'm not like wowed with Omar Sy, honestly. I really am not. It's like he's good. He's probably better than Cutelaba. Am I going to play minus 240? I don't know about that. I'm probably going to pass. Honestly, I'm probably going to pass on this fight. Maybe Omar Sy late, you know, via some kind of ground and pound, something like that. You know, maybe he can finish Cutelaba. But I mean, this is a pass fight for me. I don't really love Omar Sy here. I mean, Cutelaba last fight, arguably he won the fight against Bukauskas, and it was all striking. You know, he was 0 for 4 takedowns. It was literally all striking, and he outstruck. He landed 58-44 against the guy in Bukauskas who's better striker than Omar Sy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is an interesting matchup because I think a lot of people are discounting Cutelaba here and just automatically betting C. I think it's kind of a mistake. It's a little bit of a mistake. You know, C is a little hesitant on the feet. I don't really love the volume. You know, you look at some of these fights, 34 significant strikes landed against, or 37. Sorry, yeah, 34. Only 96 thrown in 3 rounds. I mean, that's fucking nothing. He's not throwing anything. Against Menifee. Daun Jung, he did throw. He had 90 out of 150. But again, I don't know about Daun Jung. You know, that guy is 4 straight losses. You know, he hasn't looked good at all. I don't even know if he's in the UFC anymore. So I don't know what to make of this fight. Honestly, it's a little closer than the money line says, but Cutelaba's not the best guy to trust either. You know, kind of blows his wad sometimes, just going crazy in the beginning. And if he doesn't get C, then what? You know? Do you think C is in trouble? I don't think so. He's a little too athletic. He'll probably be able to bridge out, you know, get out from on bottom. He's not like completely a fish on the mat because that's his game. You know, you look at some of these regional fights. So a lot of them he's proactively grappling, you know. So I don't think he's like, and honestly, Cutelaba loses position a lot, man. He gets reversed and loses position a lot. So yeah, I don't think so. Cutelaba is dangerous. He'll land huge ground and pound if he's on top of you. But C, I think, can explode out. I'm pretty sure he can. Let's move on. Yeah, I mean, at the end, I think C wins. There's no way I'm betting minus 240. Moving on. Co-main event of the night. It is in the women's strawweight division. It is The 15-5-1 Amanda Lemos versus the 16-8 Jillian Robertson. Currently Robertson minus 195, and the comeback on Lemos at plus 170. Grappler versus striker. Pretty simple here. Like, there's not like a crazy amount of tape that you even need to do on this fight, even though I did. Robertson, obviously, I've said this over and over again. I like her at 115. I really like her at 115. She's much better. She's very good at 115. She uses her strength a little bit better at 115 as opposed to 125. She's only 30. She is probably improving her overall game. I think his striking has gotten a little bit better. I don't think it's great, but it's gotten better in my opinion. If you look at her last fight, I mean, obviously she shot a very, very old Marina Rodriguez and finished that fight on the mat with good ground and pound. She is using a lot more ground and pound. I feel like in the later half of this second half of her career, she's just pounding girls out like crazy, using that to open up subs or even finishing girls there. She finished Vienna with that. She finished Marina Rodriguez with that. She's throwing a good amount of ground and pound in her fights. So the issue I have in this specific fight with Amanda Lemos is the physicality of Lemos. She's very, very physical for strawweight. She's strong. She's not easy to take down and hold down. Yes, she got control against Tatiana Suarez last time out. And I think if you can get Lemos like flattened out, she has issues getting up, but it's getting her down there is not easy. You know, it's really not easy. You see the Lucindo fight. Lucindo just had no success with takedowns. And matter of fact, Amanda Lemos was taking her down. And when they were in a clinch, she was just stronger. Jandiroba fight, like she had a hell of a time getting it down. And when she did, it's like Lemos could have probably disengaged, but instead she decided to just grapple with her and get and then get caught in the submission. Even the Dern fight, you know, Dern had a hell of a time trying to get the fight to the ground. The only fight that I saw that she got ragdolled a lot is that Weili Zhang fight. And she had a lot of top time and a lot of good position, but Zhang is way stronger than a girl like Jillian Robertson, right? Jillian is not a girl that's going to go down to your ankles and get takedowns like that. She's mostly a trip takedown type of girl, and it's upper body, and Lemos is a strong upper body. So the thing is, can Jillian Robertson get the fight to the mat? This is a rebooking, I believe. Yeah, they were supposed to fight in December. Lemos, I think, took that fight on short notice. Then she got sick or whatever, medical stuff. She had to pull out. So it's a rebooking, and it's 3 months later. Lemos has a full camp for this, which is different. Man, I'm torn on this fight because on one hand, I think Jillian can eventually get the fight to the ground. On the other hand, is Jillian's so hittable on the feet that I think Amanda can hurt her on the feet too. Amanda throws very, very hard for strawweight. And so I'm torn. I really am torn. I tend to lean the 30-year-old Robertson here because Amanda Lemos, I think she's turning 39. Yeah, she's turning 39 in May. She's very old for strawweight. You know, that's very, very old for strawweight. And Jillian kind of is getting in a prime of her career. That's why I tend to lean with Jillian. It's minus 195, though. It's a hard click. But I don't know. Let's see where this line goes. But if it keeps coming in, maybe I take a shot on Jillian at like medium range favorite. I do think she has potential to get on top. I do think she has potential to sub her. You know, when you're looking at this sub price, it's like plus 300s. It's not the best. It's not the best because I will say, like, Lemos did, I think she lost standing arm triangle once against Jessica Andrade, which was a terrible look. But for the most part, her sub defense she was good against Jandiroba until she got caught. And she survived a lot of the scrambles with Dern and Zhang. So I do think Jillian is better grappler as jiu-jitsu than Zhang. So I will say that. So she's super dangerous on the ground. You can't make mistakes. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Jillian here. I think Jillian honestly finds a sub. I think she finds a sub in this fight. Let's see what happens. Moving on, main event of the night, fight number 14, featherweight division. It is the 19-6 Josh Emmett versus the 17-1 Kevin Vallejos. Currently, Vallejos minus 550. The comeback on Emmett plus 420. And right off the jump, 40 years old. You know, Josh Emmett, very, very old. Been through a lot of wars. I believe he's turning 40. He's 41 years old. I'm mistaken. He turned 41 March 4th. So 41 years old. It's a lot. You know, it's very, very old in MMA. He looks like he's in great shape. Of course, you know, fountain of youth, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you look at the last fight and he got taken down pretty easily. He got subbed very quickly. I don't think that happens here. Vallejos is not a submission threat, in my opinion. Could he get a takedown? Maybe. He is kind of explosive. He could wrestle if he wants. For whatever reason, you look at that last fight from Vallejos, and you know he decided to strike a lot against Giga, which I don't think was smart. I don't think he looked great, by the way, against Giga. He lost round 1 unanimously. He just got destroyed to the body with those kicks, and I think he got even hurt to the body with that kick. But this is a way different stylistic matchup. Josh Emmett is a boxer, lead leg heavy. Vallejos actually has very, very good kicks, calf kicks. I think that's one way he can slow down Emmett, just destroy that lead leg. The other thing is, I think defensively, he has his hands up. He's pretty good with the boxing defense. Yes, could he get clipped by Emmett? But Emmett's so much slower than him at this point. Way slower. Vallejos can crack. Vallejos has a great chin. I'm not saying Emmett can't hurt him, but his chin has looked really, really good, in my opinion. Emmett is going to have to have like an absolute nuke, perfect shot that Vallejos didn't see to the chin to knock him out. Because Vallejos' durability is next level. He's using the fountain of youth as well. I just think this is one of those fights that this is a 5-round fight, which Vallejos, I don't think has ever been 5 rounds. That's one thing to note. But, and this is a big but, let's see. I want to make sure he's never been 5. I mean, he was scheduled for 5 rounds, but he ended up finishing the fight. Let me just make sure. Yeah, he was scheduled 5 against Garagori, and he ended up finishing the fight. So he's never been 5. But dude, Emmett's 41. And Emmett, if you look at his career, Laron Murphy lost, Yusuf Zalal lost, Ilya Topuria lost, Yair Rodriguez lost. He's got 1 win against Bryce Mitchell where he nuked him in round 1. Zalal is an up-and-coming prospect. Murphy's obviously close to fighting a title. Topuria is one of the best. His last good win is probably the Mitchell one where he nuked him, but like Cater fight was very, very close. Like Vallejos is going to land on him. Will Vallejos slow down in later rounds? I don't think so, honestly. I think this guy has good cardio when I watch him. Yeah. Did he slow down in his fight against Silva? Yes, in rounds 2 and 3. But man, Silva put a beating on him in that round 2 and made him slow down. Silva goes to the body. Silva's way more dynamic, in my opinion, than Josh Emmett. Emmett's like at the end of his career. Let's be honest. Like he might have 1 or 2 more fights if he's lucky. Could he find the knockout? That's the only thing. Like I think that's how he wins. Vallejos did get tired in the Silva fight, but again, Silva has way more volume, way more pressure. Something that Emmett doesn't do. Emmett is low on the volume end. He's looking for singular big shots. Vallejos is just way faster, better footwork. Boxing-wise, I think it's close, but I still favor Vallejos. I think he has better boxing, faster hands. How does Emmett win? He's not a minute winner in this fight. He's got to find the knockout against a guy with a very, very good chin. It's minus 550 for a reason. It's a matter of looking for, in my opinion, looking for some kind of prop. Fight doesn't go as minus 200. It's kind of juice because it's striker versus striker. Can Vallejos finish him late, or I'm saying early, and maybe Emmett later? I don't think so. I kind of lean overs just because Emmett is tough. He's not easy to get out of there. When is the last time he got knocked out? Was it he's never, oh yeah, he was. Jeremy Stevens was the last time to knock him out, 2018. This guy has faced Topuria, and I know Topuria beat the daylights out of this guy and potentially could have stopped him. But man, he's tough. Like Emmett is super, super durable when it comes to like taking shots. So kind of lean over in this fight. I think both guys are durable. It's a striking matchup. I don't see much submission equity on either side. Maybe play like an over instead of these juiced minus 550 type prices. Vallejos hits hard. He could potentially nuke Emmett, but is he a harder puncher than Topuria? No, I don't think so. And Emmett's still durable even at 41. So Carlos is saying, no, you mean, wait, Vallejos? Vallejos hasn't fought Ilya. I don't know who you're talking about. I think you're talking about, if you're talking about Emmett, that was not a close fight, brother. Ilya killed him. Ilya absolutely murdered him. No, it was not close, bro. He fucking killed him. Oh, on Contenders. That's not Ilya. That was John Silva. You're talking about Gene Silva. Yeah, Kevin fought Gene Silva. I'm so confused, bro. Kevin never fought Ilya, bro. You keep saying Ilya. It was Gene Silva. Yeah, that was competitive. He won round 1, and then Silva took over rounds 2 and 3. But yeah, well, that's it. We did all 14 fights. I appreciate everybody for joining. 407 of you in here. Please comment, like, subscribe. That's all I ask for. Again, Lambo Plays podcast will be on Saturday morning. No Lambo Plays podcast on Friday night. I will be going to LFA. Also, might bring in a guest for Saturday morning. Should be a popping show. Usually those Saturday morning shows, everybody loves them. So I will keep you guys updated when the actual show will be, but it will be Saturday morning. Good luck to everybody. Again, appreciate everybody for being here. Please like, subscribe. The link for free Discord is down below. So you want to get into the free section, it's down below. Discord keeps growing. Great community. Been cashing a lot. This year, all my plays are tracked. Every single one of them I track in the Discord. Everybody sees them. All the plays that I give out. I'm up, I think, over 20 units on the year already. Overall, between boxing, BKFC, and MMA. So it's been a really good year to start. It was plus 40 units last year, all tracked. I track every one of my plays. I'm very transparent in what I play. I don't track any of the live stuff, which we actually kill. I don't track any of that stuff, which is not fair to track that anyways. But yeah, Discord is great value, guys. I mean, it's $25 a month, great community again. And I think it's well worth it. If you're serious about betting, I talk about, bankroll management, all those things that are very, very important to be in a successful full-time bettor, which I've been doing for the last 4 years. So again, thank you to everybody in chat. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like down below, subscribe, comment. I will answer all the comments I can. And let's cash those tickets for UFC Vegas 114. Bang.